Greetings, I'm Chappers.
And I'm the captain.
And that is...
I am Aziz Ibrahim.
Finti ni hao ma.
Bonjour.
Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. You right or what?
We got a special guest in for the next couple of days worth of videos, and it's Rob Chapman. Oh no, sorry, that's
No,
not
it's Aziz Ibrahim.
Ibrahim,
Yeah.
who, if you don't know anything about, then you're not really a proper guitarist, are you? But Aziz has been in heaps of cool bands as well as writing a load of his own stuff, and we're going to talk about that. When did you first realise that you were kind of thinking, I'm actually going to, not go and get a normal job, I'm going to be a guitar
it's just this thing, I mean, look how beautiful that is, eh?
It is a beautiful
guitar to me was like, I mean, bear in mind, okay, I mean, there's cultural differences between communities, and for me it was always, that inhibition of, don't step out of line and, throw you out of the country kind of thing. The guitar was this symbol of rebellion for me, because I don't drink and I don't smoke, and I like women.
Yeah.
But all that's part, it's the
What about
sex.
women that smoke and drink?
I don't mind those either. But I don't like to discriminate, But it was just this thing, it was just, when I heard it and the silver strings, it was just, that is my form of rebellion, so I had to have one.
Did you come from quite a strict family?
Very
where
strict.
Your dad wanted you
Yeah,
to
get a
you've got to be
proper job.
You've got to be a doctor or a dentist or...
Yeah, get a
you're
proper
a failure.
job. Music, that you're a deadbeat, you're a layabout, you're a dropout, all this kind
But that's
of thing.
probably what made you good, because people that have that fighting spirit and fight through all that kind of bullshit end up better for having gone through the struggle.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think also that self-motivation, or maybe it's just an inbuilt thing that some people love to practice, and you'll sit at home and your mates are at the door going, yeah, let's go out robbing some lead off some roof or something. you go, no, I'm practicing me
Ian?
My D and I didn't know Ian at the time, so no, a different Ian.
A different Ian. So, and your first
Ian Red.
proper...
A different Ian to the one you're incinerating. That's the
Incinerating.
You must have kicked around in loads of sort of Manchester bands, did you, when you were in your teens?
Yeah.
What was your first kind of gig where you thought, this is pretty
To
cool?
tell you the truth, I was probably like the first, I think I was the first Pakistani rockabilly in the country.
Do you have the proper flat top?
No, I
Didn't do
it
that.
was never that. It was always the, or it was the...
That's great.
So I was like 10 years old, 12 years old,
awesome.
sneaking in the pubs with a rockabilly band, and we'd play all that kind of Eddie Cochran, Buddy Holly stuff and things. That's where the guitar was.
And
for me.
when are we talking era-wise here? What sort of...
I mean, I was born in
80s?
'64, so it was the '70s, yeah.
Right.
And then after that, I moved into reggae, really, and it was all, I just loved it, and that kind of...
Was there a big kind of reggae scene at the time in Manchester?
Yeah,
Do you appreciate what he was doing there?
Yeah, I mean,
he was creating his own delay pedal with his own guitar.
But that's what you do when you can't afford pedals. So maybe that's something, you know, that they don't teach, is the fact that, you know, a lot of players, they come from, like myself, came from no money, very poor backgrounds, and if you didn't have it, then you created it.
Yeah.
So like the Echo, that was an expensive pedal, a delay pedal of all the pedals.
They always were.
Yeah, and it probably still is. And then the rest you try to get. And if you don't have a wah pedal, so you kind of do all these things would be. Oh, you haven't got a sitar, so you.
How are you doing that?
A bit of muting.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Considered the British reggae scene as being a very Birmingham sort of central thing, or was that where you had to sort of travel to sort of be in those bands, or was it?
Well, I mean,
quite big
when
in
you're playing
Manchester
reggae
as well?
bands, you kind of did the West Indian community centres, and the dance nights and the lovers dance nights and the ragga and the wherever. But they were great times. Illegal parties, blues, all that. Fantastic. But for a guy who didn't drink or smoke, it was kind of like, ooh.
That's great. And so then beyond that, because what you're coming into,
then it came to the funk and the soul side of things, and then I was into everything that was funky and everything that was soul. That kind of developed my right hand a bit more, so it's kind of that.
I've learned something about you, Aziz. You're a bit of a guitar chameleon. And I'm wondering, because I know that you've...
As long as I'm not a social chameleon.
Well, yeah. But you seem to have like migrated through various styles and genres. But did you bring anything from Pakistan into your playing? Have you got any like tabla kind of rhythms or any sort of...
Yeah, I mean, if I was writing, then, you know, there's a side of... I mean, we all enjoy kind of, you know, playing... No, it's just powerful, and it's, you know, something beautiful about playing, you know, G, D, and A and things like that. But when it came down to it, and you're looking at writing and developing original music, then you've got to look in yourself, into your roots, and find something that can take you, you know, a certain direction. So I started looking into, you know, my own music, the music I kind of grew up with at home, and then it started to shape the chord. You know, I started to just mess around with the scales of it, really, and I found that all these kind of Japanese scales. You know, I just started to incorporate into
from the Friedman type of stuff that you were into.
Yeah.
Yeah, we share a bit of a Friedman kit. Yeah.
The rhythms themselves, you know, the Punjabi rhythms. You know, it's just rhythmically, it's just different.
Yeah.
You know, you feel that kind of. You know, and it just, when you mix it in, then people's ears kind of pick up on it.
It's a completely different flavour.
Yeah.
And that's how I was writing for, say, for Ian Brown or somebody like that. I'd come up with that riff alongside M30. it was just a certain riff, which was, I mean, you know that scale, you've heard it a million times before, but it's just your way you play the notes more so. You know, it's just a different approach. Like, you know, I've heard I've heard your the finger vibrato there, and it's, you know,
thank you, sir.
It's been improving every time I've heard it, man. You know, and it just
to.
develops, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But it's interesting because you've taken it all and blended it into this unique vibe. And not a lot of people change through styles like
tone
that.
blender.
That's what it is, yeah.
That's the bit where, you know, we've been talking before we started filming about kind of Aziz's career, and it's pretty diverse, isn't it? I mean, you know, I know Simply Red would be kind of like, you know, at one end of the sort of, as you say, that soul funk kind of 80s kind of vibe.
Dream job. You know, you're at home and the phone rings,
yeah,
and then somebody at the other end says, you know, do you fancy a world tour? You know, pay you £1,000 a week and all the women you can eat, all the food you can eat, and you kind of go, is that you, Delroy, messing around? And then it actually is the real deal. And, you know, the guy says, oh, well, what do you think of the music? And, well, actually, what he said to me was, do you like curry?
Really? What?
I'm Pakistani. What do you mean, do I like curry? So it started off like that anyway. But, you know, I was 20, 21, 22, and it's an unbelievable
I mean, that would have been
thing
massive at the time as well. That was right at the kind of peak, presumably, of that kind of...
It was.
You know,
it was full production.
To mention,
you know,
you
had wardrobe people on tour with you.
Wow.
Ironing your clothes and stuff, and
sharp
the
suits.
managers were picking out clothes for me as well. These beautiful, really nice Italian suits. Not that I had any Italian, so I knew the first thing about them. But I was just like, yeah. You know, I'll wear them.
Awesome.
I'll wear those.
Fairly quickly then into I suppose that hardcore web.
You got
real
dirtier and
Manchester
dirtier
scene.
from Simply Red.
I got dirtier and dirtier.
Yeah.
I was corrupted on
And
the way.
so how did you go? Because
Corrupted.
that went from a band where the guitar was perhaps quite incidental in the, you know, it was like part of a much more perhaps brassy, keyboardy kind of
well,
thing.
you know what happened? It wasn't. I love music, full stop. You know, and it's a gig. And you're early 20s. It's like, you know, you're going to say, yeah, I love it. First thing you got to say, I love it. But it wasn't actually me. I didn't like the feeling of being bossed around, and they didn't like my ice pink Ibanez.
Yeah.
Which was one of the first. Do you remember those Ibanez guitars? The range after it was the kind of RG series, very Roadsters.
Oh, okay. So the ones that were a bit of almost a 70s throwback, but in the 80s.
Yeah, just
big
before
headstock.
before the Steve Vai gems came out.
Wow.
And they did them in these beautiful, like an ice pink colour it was, with no scratch plate, and he had like 3 switches for the pickups.
Wow.
And obviously they had the edge trem on it and so forth. It wasn't the very early ones, but it was absolutely beautiful. It was like my main guitar at the time, and
They didn't like it.
it just didn't.
It clashed with Mick Hucknall's hair.
Yeah, it
was
wasn't
problem.
the right shade of red.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That must be. I suppose that's the deal, isn't it? I suppose if you're a pro, if you're going to join a tour with a band, you know, a big name, and they just say it's the wrong guitar, I suppose you just got to go.
Well, you know what they handed me?
What?
One of those PRS signatures.
Of
The very first PRS.
Wow.
The one that's worth a lot of money.
right, okay.
The one I never should have sold. That one.
Ah.
So, well, you're talking about at the time when PRS was kind of making guitars and trying to get a name
87.
for himself. Oh, so no, they've been around for a while. by then, haven't
1987, and they brought this guitar, and I think it's called a Signature, and it's worth a lot of money
right.
these days. It was in a kind of a green, emerald green tiger or stripe, maybe, you know, top it.
But that's gone.
Coffee
now.
table top.
Because you didn't join the Stone Roses until
96.
96. So what happened in that sort of say 10 years prior to that? Were you just doing other Manchester-based? Kind of that type
I
of
was
thing?
in. See if you can recognise the riff.
Cool.
Oh my god. Really?
And
Wow.
can't picture you in hot chocolate.
That's
at all.
absolutely amazing.
It's
with Errol Brown on tour, yeah, I ended up as what they call an MD at the time. They're just somebody gets paid more, that's all. But
Yeah.
so started arranging all those songs. But what I discovered was all these songs, 25 to 29 top 10 hit singles.
Yeah.
Started from the age 17, and I just learned a lot about music.
Yeah.
Great songs though.
I bet that was a tour full of women.
It
you
was.
just got Errol's cast-offs, though.
I got to tell you this.
I had you,
Cast-offs.
you, and you.
It was Asia.
How did you make that transition from a very sort of soul funk thing into a very proggy rock?
He was in the community. That's what it was. You were in
lack
there.
of hair, and
Actually, my buddy Sammy Colson plays for Asia. He's a very good guitar player. Wicked guy. Hung out with us for a few days.
I'm sure. I'm just trying to think now.
I'll tell you
whether-
somebody else
Yeah.
who played for Asia, which is a strange thing, is Guthrie Gowan.
Yeah.
And it's just
That doesn't surprise
I
me.
don't know. I just remember because after I was doing the Stephen Wilson gig, I heard Guthrie was playing, or is playing for,
Yeah.
and I think before me was Al Petrelli, a great player. He did the album Aria, and before he got the Megadeth gig.
Right.
Right.
I saw the light, and I thought, I want to be in a band. You know, I want to be in a band. I want to have an equal say.
Yeah.
I want to be able to play, what I want to play.
You got fed up with playing for other people and being told what to do.
Well, I mean,
and
I'll give you an example. When I was doing the Simply Red gig, they took the Marshall logos off my speakers, my 4x12s. Well, there's two of them on stage, which they moaned about. Two 4x12s, and they were Jubilee cabs. And they were beautiful. They looked awesome. You walked on stage, there they were, in that silver grey colour. And the logo, one day, I can't remember where the gig was, the logos had gone. Nobody's asked my permission.
It must be a TV thing, was it?
I
Was
know.
it being filmed and
No, nothing to do with
No?
that. They didn't like the logos.
They
They
just
said it
did
was
it
too
visually.
rock and roll.
there
Or
you
maybe it was me playing Thin Lizzy riffs every sound check.
go. So right
Even
now,
though-
you're writing for yourself.
Yeah, and for
And-
others.
yeah.
Other people, and a bit of mentoring as well. Young bands and production. I do a fair bit of charity work and teaching in prisons as well. Whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, they like me there.
Anyway, I've been the captain.
I've been Rob.
I am still Aziz.